What is going on, everyone? So it's been a little while since I have made one of these videos, but the pandemic situation seems to be trending towards the better, at least from what I've been seeing in the news and all that. So it's definitely good feeling that we're moving in the right direction with that. But it's gonna be a while till we have any degree of normalcy again. But I do have, I hope I'll be able to head out onto a spring trip, so we'll see on that. And I'm definitely looking forward to whenever that's possible, whether it's in the near or distant future, but definitely looking forward to that. A few weeks back, I did a live stream here on YouTube, and I announced that I was gonna be giving away a 10-stop big stopper filter from Lee. And there were 74 of you guys who entered to win it. And definitely I appreciate all the entries. I read through all the entries and all the messages and stuff, and always brings a smile to my face when I was reading through all that stuff. So definitely appreciate that. I had Siri choose a random number between 1 and 74, and the number was 70. And so I went through the 70th entry, and that was Jeff Sully. So congratulations, Jeff. I'll reach out to you in a day or so. Maybe give you an opportunity to see it here in the video before reaching out to you. But congratulations, Jeff, and I hope you put it to very, very good use. Another thing too, so another viewer of the channel and very talented photographer, and he also has his own channel, Scott Walton. He has offered up an item as a giveaway to someone who is viewing this video. And this is really, really cool. So this is very, very generous of Scott to do. So I'm a huge fan of using a mechanical stopwatch when I'm timing my exposures. There's something about having a cable release in one hand, a stopwatch in the other. It's the same motion between the two of them, so it's really easy on the brain. No batteries required. And so the reason I started using a stopwatch was way back when I was a kid. My grandparents gave me this Minerva stopwatch. And when I started shooting large format, I remember, oh yeah, I got that stopwatch in the drawer, so I pulled that out, and I've used that to time basically all the photos I've taken. And eventually the stopwatch broke, and I replaced it with a model that's very, very similar, and that's what I've been using ever since. And that was in 2017 that I switched to the new one. And so I'm a huge fan of them. But Scott purchased 2 of the Minerva Scott watches. It should be called a Scott watch, really. But the Minerva stopwatches, he purchased 2 of them and chose to keep one of them and offered the other one, which is this one. Now, this one is actually the exact same model that I use in the field. So this is slightly bigger than the one that he decided to keep. So it's a little bigger, a little heavier, but this is, again, the exact same one that I use. These are not inexpensive stopwatches. They're just super awesome to use. I love the feel of them. I love the sound of them. Just really, really high quality stuff. And this is an older stopwatch too. I know that the one that I use, I think was like World War II era, and this is probably along the same lines. So if you guys want to be entered to win the Minerva stopwatch compliments of Scott Walton, there is going to be a link down below in the show notes. You can follow that. And just like with the giveaway of the Lee Big Stopper, I will go through all the entries. I will choose a random number, and that person will win the stopwatch. And I'll announce that probably in a week or so, whenever the next video comes out. But definitely want to thank you guys for tuning into the channel. And also a special thanks to Scott for offering up such an awesome item as a giveaway. So this week's video is all about goals, both short-term and long-term. And I think it's something that's especially important in this day and age when we all kind of have a new normal and having to shift around our routines and all that. So hope you guys enjoy this week's video. So in this week's video, I want to talk about goals, both short-term and long-term. I think that's something that's especially important in this day and age with the current pandemic. Because so many of us have been so affected by what's going on. I think it would be very difficult to be living your life as normal and not be affected in some ways. And for some people, it's pretty major. Maybe you lost your job, maybe you took a huge pay cut, maybe you're working a different job, or just things have been changed so dramatically. And it really does remind me of when my wife and I basically had our house remodeled, which is kind of a way of, it's a big thing that upends your life. But you know it's not going to last forever. And at the end of it, it's going to be definitely worthwhile. So we bought our current house about 6 years ago. And there was some work that had already been done on it, but there's also a lot of work that we wanted to do with the house. So we wanted to have new hardwood floors put in, new doors, new kitchen, because everything was original from the 1950s. And it's a pretty big process to go through, a lot of decisions to make. The demo work, tearing everything out, you gotta move all your possessions out in the garage. We were living in a RV out in the driveway for a few months. And it would definitely got stressful at times because you're having to make these decisions. You don't really have a degree of normalcy. You just want to kind of come home to your home, but instead, you're living in an RV as everything is getting torn apart. And so we wanted to have a goal as far as something to look forward to when this whole process was complete. And it didn't have to be a big thing, just a simple thing. And so we kind of decided that the thing that we're going to look forward to was going to be simply having waffles in our new dining room with everything done on a Sunday morning. And so the process to remodel the house, it took a few months. It was definitely a lot of work. And we had a contractor doing all the work for us, so we weren't physically doing the work, but just the mental drain of just seeing everything torn apart and then kind of eventually being put back together. And there eventually came that moment when we were sitting down having some waffles on a Sunday morning, just looking at everything around us, after having gone through everything that we did to get everything put back together, moved all the furniture back in. And it was a very rewarding moment, a very simple moment, but a very, very rewarding moment. And that one thought of being able to have that waffle breakfast kind of kept us motivated. And now with the current pandemic situation, my wife has actually been remodeling one of the bathrooms. And so I kind of joke that when she's done with that, I'll probably just sit there, take a bath and eat waffles, because maybe that'll be a light at the end of the tunnel for that. But she's doing an awesome job renovating the bathroom. But what I want to talk about is some of the goals that maybe you guys have when it comes to when the pandemic is in, because it's important to have something to look forward to. But there's also short-term versus long-term goals. So in terms of short-term goals, one of the things I found is that I've really enjoyed changing up my routine a bit and actually working out twice a day. So before this whole thing happened, I'd usually go for a run in the mornings, maybe between about 2 and 6 miles, just through the neighborhood. And I did that maybe about 5 days a week. And I really enjoyed that because it allowed me to get up early. I like being up early when still nice cool air out in the morning, going for a run out there. And I've really enjoyed that. But I've also taken to working out in the garage in the afternoons as well. So, push-ups, sit-ups, burpees, jumping rope, all that sort of stuff. And I've really enjoyed that. It's become my new normal. It's become my new routine. It's something I do look forward to on a daily basis. And I'm in better shape now than I was before the pandemic, just because even as horrendous of a situation as this is, there's always a positive side to it. And I think it's important to try to find that positive side. And I think when all this is done, we will have maybe rethought certain things, and we may never go back to exactly the way that we were, but maybe that's a good thing, because maybe we'll kind of learn from things in some ways. But I also have a little bit of a longer term goal. Now, this isn't necessarily resulting to the pandemic, though I'm certainly thinking about it right now. And that goal has to do with, eventually my wife and I, we want to get the house paid off. And once we have it paid off, one of the rewards is I would love to purchase a little trailer that I can take on the trips. It's not something big and huge, something that would serve as a nice home base when I go on these trips. Something that has a shower, something that has a kitchen, just a nice clean indoor space. And so that has been one of my long-term goals, and it's something that I'm definitely going to work really hard for, because I think it'd just be kind of a nice thing to have. I think it would complement the style of the trips I do, where I'll stay in the same place for a week or so. And in many ways, it's become a little bit of a joke between me and my wife, because I always try to find some ways of working the little trailer into a conversation. It's something I really do look forward to. So in that same sense as the waffles, I look forward to the moment that I do have the trailer. I can take it on the trips, and it will be the end result of a lot of hard work. The pandemic situation will be behind us, but it'll definitely be a lot more expensive than a plate full of waffles. But I'd be curious what your guys' thoughts are in terms of goals. If you have any goals for when this pandemic situation is behind us, short term, long term, anything you guys have, feel free to leave it down below in the comments here. But I want to thank everyone for watching, and we'll see you around next week.